Is Tezzeret Cruel Captain the best card in Edge of Eternities for Legacy? Early results seem to say yes. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today I want to do some testing of Tezzeret Cruel Captain. This is a league I'm playing for me, not a league because I was bribed. And I'm doing this partially because I think that this card might be the real deal. It put up a lot of challenge results, and in a couple of different shells as well. And although my focus has shifted away from competitive play over the last few years, opting instead to play a lot of really cool jank, I like to be informed when I record my podcast episodes for the Eternal Glory podcast, and I think this is the hotness right now. At 3 mana for a Planeswalker, that is a very competitive value, and we have seen some very, very good work from other 3 mana Planeswalkers in Legacy, especially Oko Thief of Crowns. And kind of the kicker here is that whenever you, or not cast actually, whenever an artifact you control enters, you put a +1/+1, a loyalty counter on Tezzeret. It's early, my bad. And if you think about the Mystic Forge One Ring shell, and you think about how many spells you can realistically cast in a turn, this means that it is not crazy for Tezzeret to ultimate the turn that you play him. And let's skip to the -7 first. You get an emblem with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, put 3 +1/+1 counters on target artifact you control. If it's not a creature, it becomes a 0/0 robot artifact creature. So this is inevitability. All your crappy Mox Opals and Keys and Grim Monoliths that you're no longer using, those just become dudes after dudes after dudes after dudes. And these bodies can either protect Tezzeret from being attacked, or be the thing that you finish the game with. Beyond that, the 0 ability can just untap the One Ring, or untap Mystic Forge. And the -3 ability gets you your Manifold Key, or your Voltaic Key, most of the time to untap Mana Rocks, but you can also search out things like Pithing Needles and Soul Guide Lanterns and whatever else you need for the specific metagame. So this looks powerful. I have just grabbed a list with no edits here from a top 8 over the weekend, from a Legacy challenge. And this is essentially shoving 4 Tezzerets into the existing One Ring Karn Forge shell, whatever you want to call it. There are more conservative builds that are playing about 2 of these, and then there was also a painter version of the deck that instead uses Tezzeret to go and search up the Grindstone. And as we've seen with Urza's Saga in the past, that ability to tutor up the Grindstone, making it so that you don't have to run the full 4, is super relevant. Conceptually, what I like here is that I think it is going to be very fucking hard to hate out this deck. Now, Consigned to Memory that can counter pretty much everything in the deck, yeah, that is going to be nuts hate. But is your Null Rod going to be enough? If you have Urza's Saga as an alternate win condition, you have Glaring Fleshraker plus Kozilek's Command to do a lot of direct damage, and you are also just threatening to go, haha, -7, good luck dealing with everything forever through your Null Rod. And all of the things that you shut off are now just 3/3 creatures. So I think the end result here is that this deck ends up becoming more resilient, and some of the hate that is used against it, like your Pithing Needles and Disruptor Flutes, now become more taxed, right? Because now it's not just the One Ring or Karn, now you are also throwing Tezzeret into that mix too, and it becomes harder to hit the correct one blind. And that leaves you in some really weird spots where, okay, I have 2 mana on turn 2, I have a Disruptor Flute, can I even cast that card, or do I have to wait for something to go on the stack? One other notable here, with Tezzeret's starting loyalty being 4, let's bump that over, 4, it means that if you cast spells after Tezzeret, Tezzeret is not just immediately vulnerable to being killed by a lightning bolt. So I think the numbers work out pretty well in Legacy, and let's just kind of see how this fares. Folks, should you need any magic cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. They're great. If you see this purple banner in person at some event, like say MagicCon Atlanta, there will be great deals underneath it, especially on old cards like Dual Lands that have seen a little bit of love. Promo code ThrabenU saves you 5% on your online orders, and remember, if you are going to an in-person event, you can usually order online and pick up on-site and not have to worry about the hassle of shipping or your cards arriving on time or hunting down cards from vendors, which is often surprisingly difficult to do at big events. With that being said, let's battle. All right, first hand here looks to me to be mediocre. I have 3 lands and the ability to cast a Tezzeret on turn 3, but I don't know that that is really impressive. I don't have Metalcraft for this. I don't have a Planar Nexus plus a Tron land. I don't have a Soul land to accelerate. I think I will mulligan this. This is going to be better. So, turn 1, probably Tower, so I can hit Planar Nexus and have things improve. Tower Key, turn 2, Urza's Workshop, Grim Monolith, 3 mana, down to 2 mana to untap, up to 5 mana. Play Tezzeret, down to 2 mana, untap, up to 5 mana, play the One Ring, and Bob's your uncle from there. I think I get rid of Glaring Fleshraker. This feels kind of silly. Now, that is the Goldfish thing where we don't get Wastelanded or Dazed or whatever, right? So, like, that's the Magical Christmas Land scenario, and there's a decent chance that this could be a control deck. Stock up, sure. I'm gonna wait on that. Part of me just wants to blind slam that on Wasteland, but I can probably gather a little bit more information. We've got a Ponder on the other side of the battlefield. It's still possible that this is combo, and that stock up is just the fuel to keep the combo going, and this is some sort of blue-green show and tell deck, for example. Prismatic Vista as the land of choice. When I mathed this out before, I did not seem to need an extra mana this turn, so I think I am just going to not. So, Grim Monolith, 3 mana, untap Grim Monolith, 5 mana, Tezzeret. The Force of Will pitching a stock up. I'm going to go ahead and now achieve Metalcraft for Urza's Workshop purposes next turn. Good enough to get my opponent to fetch in response. I think I am just going to go ahead and, not fully in the dark, but name Wasteland here. I think it is more likely that my opponent is show and tell at this point, but I really don't want to be wrong. Damn it, could have gotten value by naming Prismatic Vista. There is a stock up. So we've got mana. I think I'm going to go 2 mana, Grim Monolith. I'm going to play this out and go the One Ring. We're hoping this resolves. My opponent got a stock up to try to find another counterspell, and they succeeded. This is indeed looking more like show and tell. And I will probably end up untapping a Grim Monolith and taking 2 here. It is the show and tell. There's the Omniscience. And Cunning Wish should result in a kill. So what normally happens here is that my opponent will pick up a Firemind's Foresight. Oh no, we're just doing it a different way. So my opponent is going to search for an Emrakul here and cast an Emrakul, take an extra turn, annihilate 6 of my permanents, and that is perfectly fine. What are the other modes here? Pseudo Fight and junk a card. That's fine. My opponent is on blue-green show and tell, and I am definitely not going to need these Pithing Needles or this Soul Guide Lantern. Let's see what I can get in. Disruptor Flute on show and tell is fine. Perilous Snare is something I can either choose to board in or choose to wish for, and it's good either way. I need 3 cards in to fill, unless I just want to keep Soul Guide Lantern as a draw a card off of Urza's Saga. I think I'm going to go threat in and then board in one of these 2 with the ability to fish out the other one. I think I would like the ability to put that in all the time. Well, it's weird. You have access to a bunch of Karns. Like, do I want the better one in the sideboard so that I can wish for it but telegraph it? Or do I want the better one to be a surprise? This doesn't feel great. Let's mulligan this. Turn 1, nothing. Turn to this, no Metalcraft. Play Grim Monolith, 3 mana. Play Tezzeret, minus Tezzeret. This is going to be a keep, and I get rid of a colorless command. So Nexus pass. It looks like opponent is just passing the turn as well. Ooh, nice. We drew the snare. I'll take it. So then 3 mana for Tezzeret. Tezzeret hits play. I'm going to work towards Metalcraft here. Grab a Mox Opal with this. Go ahead and cast that immediately. Just always yield to that. And then next turn, I probably go wild with Tezzeret Mystic Forge. Opponent will probably just grab a Hedge Maze here. Opponent keeps their card, which I don't love. Land drop 2, Lotus Petal. We are a go. It is stock up, luckily, and not show and tell. Ooh, I hit an Urza's Tower. We have mana. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. There's Mystic Forge. That eats a Force of Will. Then I will go ahead and untap this Grim Monolith. Don't have Metalcraft because Mystic Forge didn't resolve. I think I'm going to spawn and get a new card. Do this for a moderate X equals 2. Ancient Tomb goes on bottom. I would like to find another threat here. Found another Causal X command. I can cast a large one of those next turn. It is another stock up. Opponent has 5 cards in hand. Holy moly, do I have mana. I think I am not going to activate Tezzeret immediately here. I will sack these, I think, though. So we're going to do this for a mighty X equals 8. Alright. Bottom. Bottom. Oh, I could do a lot of math here. I'm absolutely not going to do a lot of math. I'm going to approximate this. 8, 4, 4. Do this like this, this, this. Draw Mystic Forge. Sack 4 of these. 4 Mystic Forge. Now, do the One Ring. We're going to have some triggers. I have protection from everything. Cast Lotus Petal. Cast Manifold Key. Manifold Key on Grim Monolith. Sacrificing this. 3 mana. Manifold Key. Manifold Key. Target Monolith. 4 mana. Karn. Junk that with Mystic Forge. Draw that. It's a Disruptor Flute. Let's Karn minus. Say yes. I get to 5 mana. I can Tezzeret get to 3 mana. I have a Perilous Snare to put in already. I don't have immediate mana if I Tezzeret minus to activate another one of these. Let's just get something that bridges to next turn. So let's untap a Grim Monolith. Oh wait, Disruptor Flute on Show and Tell might just be better. JK. Okay, I did that wrong. So there's Show and Tell out of the way. I had better ways to do that turn, but we're very much learning this as we go along. And the next turn I can Mycosynth Lattice and probably Tezzeret Ultimate too. Brainstorm's fine. Guess I need an upkeep stop to take that land off the top of my deck. Alright, and my opponent concedes there. Yeah, was that my turn 3? No, that was my turn 4. That was an impressive turn, because I started with, I think, just a Mana Rock in play. Then, no, I had the Tezzeret in play. So we did One Ring, Mystic Forge, Karn. We basically did all of this stuff in one turn. Seems good. This doesn't have any starting mana. What's my land count at? Oh, actually pretty respectable. Yeah, this is fine. I will throw one Urza Saga back here. I probably don't need multiple of those in this matchup. I might not even need one of those in this matchup. Vista Pass. Ancient Tomb doesn't change anything for me here. It's just best to combine these 2 lands still. I'll pass my turn. Opponent might do a Brainstorm at end of turn for mana efficiency here. Nope, Cycling Lorien revealed. Finding a Hedge Maze, so that's going to be something to bridge this turn cycle between 2 and 3 mana, and 3 mana is where things get scary. Does it stay on top? It does. Oh, we have a lot of mana. I am going to go ahead and do this thing, I think it is going to eat a counter spell of some kind. And I am correct. It does pitch a show and tell, which either means that my opponent has another show and tell or that they don't have many blue cards in hand. I'm going to bet it is they have another show and tell. Hello, Karn. So let's go Glaring Fleshraker, then drop an Urza land, go 4 for Karn, and we're going to always yield to these Glaring Fleshraker triggers, and yield to that one as well. Karn is in play. I'm going to Karn minus, say yes, and I think we pick up the Ensnaring Bridge that can potentially save me from a show and tell attack. The next turn I have like some Kozilek's Command or just do the... Oh, totally blanking on the name. Mycosynth Lattice thing. Oh, holy shit. Okay. So I need 2 Urza's Towers to cast Mycosynth Lattice. But in the meantime, as bait, I can still do something kind of annoying. Where we Kozilek's Command for a respectable X equals 3. And we're trying to get my opponent to pull the trigger on this early. Opponent is doing a bounce spell here. That's fine. Ooh. Yes. Key goes on bottom. These other 2 cards are fine. Bam. And bam. So let's play the One Ring. That's good enough for a counterspell pitching a show and tell. I have 6 mana available. Minus Lattice. 6 mana. We have gotten my opponent to interact twice already. You have another fish producer. Fish. No. No fish. So I imagine that means that we are down here. That was an impressive turn. So I got to do 2 things as bait, both of which were incredibly threatening and needed to be interacted with, and then got to win with Mycosynth Lattice. Seems good. Really threat dance. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. Alright, opening hand does not have enough mana here. Is the primary reason why I am mulliganing. Okay, so this is going to be a keep. What am I doing with it? So I'm on the draw. I'm going to get an extra card. I'm always keeping both threats. I'm always keeping 2 lands. I can play a very early Tezzeret. It doesn't really have anything to untap, and it would be searching me for a cycle maybe. I think the goal is to play a turn 2 Karn here. I keep the Lotus Petals. Got a Flooded Strand. Ooh. Yeah. Let's do this into this. I should play Planar Nexus for the chance of hitting the Tron land, but I think I'm hitting Metalcraft on this next turn. So, you know, Bloodstained Mire, 2 yard. So these are some weird fetch lands. If this is just blue-black, I would have to be seeing the flex slot blue land and the flex slot black land at the same time here, which is certainly possible. There's a delta. Okay, I think that did happen. I have 2 different threats here, but one of them is way better than the other. However, if this is Reanimator, I can just get Graveyard Hate by -3ing this next turn. I have lost Karn. Planar Nexus. This is 2 total mana. I think I'm going to go ahead and hit Metalcraft here. Go 2 mana, 3 mana, do Tezzeret. Force of Will pitching Brazen Borrower is rough. So now I've got nothing going on. My opponent answered both of my threats. So now we are playing the game of, is my opponent actually Reanimator, or are they just tempo? It's a scary game. And we still don't really know the answer to that. So I have all the mana in the world, nothing to do with it. I'm on a 3-turn clock from Murktide Regent. If I die to this Murktide Regent without my opponent playing any other cards, I think I will operate under the assumption that they are tempo, but that I won't take the which graveyard hate card did I have in the main deck? But I probably won't take the Soul Guide Lantern out of my deck. Flying Fleshraker is not all that impressive without another card to back it up immediately. I guess I will still just play it out though. It's in play, but that doesn't mean too much when I'm just facing down lethal on the next attack. I'm at 6. The opponent just wants to find a Force of Will, Force of Negation, if they have that main deck. Even a Brazen Borrower is probably pretty good. We have all the mana in the world, and we are dead on turn 5 to 1 Magic the Gathering card. Murktide Regent, very good. GG. So I can play this game of do I board in these cards. I think for this game, I am just going to try to win. I'm on the play. My deck is very aggressive. My deck has a ton of threats. I think I'm just going to roll with things as they are. And then as I gain more information in this game, if I win this one and we move to a game 3, I'll think a little harder about whether or not I want ley lines. They would not be embarrassing to play here. I would do something like needle out, trim probably 2 threats, and play the ley lines. Or just intend on dragging the game a little longer and trim the Mox Opal and 1 threat. I'll keep this. So my big upside here is that I am not soft to a wasteland. And I intend on playing a fair Urza Saga beatdown hand that transitions at some point into casting unfair cards. Ponder is fine. Ancient Tomb. That doesn't change anything for me here. I'll just pass. Basic land from my opponent into a Thoughtseize. This is my current power. That's not all that bad. Opponent chooses the One Ring, which I think is the scarier of the two. I don't love drawing all these Ancient Tombs. I very much have mana covered. Don't have Metalcraft yet. We're getting there, and then these Urza's Workshops will start to pop off. I don't even know if I'm ever casting this Karn. Okay, cool. No Goy for anything coming down. I will Saga. We sure do have Karns, though. I will Saga again. Is this where I get dressed downed? Not immediately, at least. They were just fetching around Pithing Needle, which is, like, totally fair. Could have 3 mana this turn. I don't think that super matters. I think I am going to get a Pithing Needle still and put it on Wasteland to protect this second Urza Saga that I'm going to be doing. Send in for 4. Opponent is at 12. I throw down an Urza Saga. I may win this one, having only cast 1 spell this game. It is Petty Theft on Soul Guide Lantern. That does not bode well, because we could just eat Entomb plus Reanimate immediately here. Yup. It's Archon to Yard, which is very bad, obviously. There's the Reanimate. I have to sacrifice a creature. I have to discard a card. I don't have Metalcraft anymore. I can get it back. So the plan is probably Ensnaring Bridge to stop Archon from attacking and hope they don't have another Brazen Borrower or a Consign or a Force of Will or a Force of Negation. The Tezzeret. So if I get Metalcraft, I have 3, 6, 7, 8 mana. Not counting this. Alright. So let's get Metalcraft. Take out something that grows a Murktide Regent from my opponent's graveyard. So up to 4 mana. Cast Karn. That's a Consign. We did not want that to happen. So please don't daze me. New Karn. Enjoyable. Obviously this is horrifically bad. My opponent had Entomb plus Reanimate backed by 2 different counterspells. It's a Murktide Regent as well. Wonderful. Now this attack is also going to knock me off of Metalcraft and take Tezzeret. Hate that. Yep. I'm at 6 when all that is said and done. So this can get me Metalcraft. And then I will have 3... No, I won't have Metalcraft at a time where I have all 3 Urza Saga lands. So I'll have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 mana available. I need to find the One Ring, I think. So float E for the One Ring. Or if I do hit it, or Mox Opal get one deeper. Let's go Mox Opal get one deeper. So 2, 4, 7, 8, Pawns and Scry. I don't think I get to play around days, because I just have to dig as deep as I can to hit this specific turn. So I have 6 mana. I could cast a Kozilek's Command for X equals 4, which is probably better than the other things. We'll bottom everything else. We're looking for exactly the One Ring. So same modes again, but this time X equals 4. And hopefully we hit. We have exactly 4 mana after this. Hey, it's the One Ring. So did I make a land drop this turn? Was it Ancient Tomb this turn? My turn 6. Kozilek's Command. No, I didn't. So I get to cast this One Ring. I could cast One Ring and then do Urza's Workshop, and then try to do Manifold Key Crimes the following turn. Let's go Forge bottom, then this, then this, then this. Cast this. There's the protection from everything. Draw a card, hit this land drop, and pass. I am at 3 life effectively, but Masters would suck. It may be that I want to cycle Soul Guide Lantern and get 1 deeper immediately. Oh, fuck. Yeah, so on my own turn, I think I should have cycled Soul Guide Lantern to draw a card, have 3 mana off Urza's Workshop, and then untap the One Ring once before my opponent has a chance to play a Bowmaster. That was probably a mistake on my end. All right, there's a Surveil land after that Brainstorm. Once the One Ring is in play, I don't need the Soul Guide Lantern for Metalcraft purposes anymore. Oh, that's a target opponent trigger, so that trigger is not actually happening. Alright, so now I will go ahead and draw a card here. So take 1 off of this, go to 3, draw some cards. Ooh, those are all whiffs. So there's Tower. There's... Oh, fuck. I don't have Planar Nexus. That was just not great to do. There's a Brainstorm in response to my Manifold Key. Yeah, so the correct thing to do there is just not play a land drop yet. Well, I guess these tap for 1 more mana if I do. That is a Force of Will, and I'm going to die there. For giggles, let's look another card or 2 deeper here. So, Grim Monolith is nothing. Kozilek's Command is a real card. On my previous turn, I can get 1 deeper. I get to Grim Monolith. And there's 2 counters on this. I get Kozilek's Command and Ancient Tomb. I can cast a very large Kozilek's Command. And may or may not hit something there. There's a bunch of blanks in a row. But I guess Voltaic Key untaps the One Ring to try again, and then I'm all in. I had a little bit of wiggle room there. It's possible that could have been a win, but it would have been tough. GG's. Opponent has revealed a Yorion. I have not enough mana to get going here. Second hand is great. I have 4 mana on turn 2, or probably the One Ring. And I don't remember if I said this. Opponent is a Yorion deck of some kind. I'll throw back a Lotus Petal. I don't super need Lotus Petal immediately. Land and pass the turn. I don't want to see Wasteland on the other side of the battlefield here. It will be devastating. Not Wasteland. So now we just start playing haymakers until 1 sticks, and I can do it for the next 3 turns in a row at minimum. That's a Force of Will. You have passed the first test. We got a fetch end of turn. This is presumably going to be like some 5-color Yorion pile or something. Yep. So this can get Tundra, and then a bunch of the colors are available. So Leyline Binding is on board. Lotus Petal. 3 mana, 4 mana, 5 mana. Not quite at Metalcraft for 6 mana. So I think what I'm going to do here is try to make it more awkward for my opponent to use Leyline Binding. I'll play these out. Then go 3 mana, 4 mana, the One Ring. Get my protection from everything, but not draw. Oh, wait, hold on. Do I have 4 mana? Ooh, yeah. So then I will also play Karn. I'll intend on Karn minusing for Mystic Forge. I think. Just overwhelm my opponent here. I think there is a good chance that one of these two cards, probably the One Ring, gets answered immediately. So I'm just going to pass the turn here, not draw with the One Ring. And then if my opponent targets it with a Leyline Binding, then I draw in response. Yeah, there's the Leyline Binding. Target the One Ring. Now I draw in response. I actually get my card. So now I have an active Planeswalker and a Mystic Forge as a follow-up threat. Ooh. Docking up. Sure. Okay, just concession. So Yorion Enchantress control? I'm going to assume that there's going to be the, like, up the beanstalk and single green enchant land type cards in here. I don't know how crazy my opponent is going with this. I know that Soul Guide Lantern isn't going to be great. It is currently unclear to me how good Pithing Needle is going to be. I don't know if I'm looking at Planeswalkers or Helm of Obedience or what. Disruptor Flute and go on Yorion. Could hit Wasteland if my opponent has Life from the Loams and is just control with a little spice. And what do I do if I get these Pithing Needles out of my deck? Slightly worse at enabling Metalcraft. And bring in a Forge. Bring in a Paradox Engine. I guess. Leave one Pithing Needle to tutor for in case there's a weird Planeswalker or a Helm or something that I need to shut off. Because I am a Karn the Great Creator deck, a lot of my sideboard is for silver bullets, so when I want to take things out, I won't always be the best at doing that, and that's just kind of a trade-off that you take. Yes. Ancient Tomb, Grim Monolith, Lotus Petal, the One Ring, go. Seems fine. And like the One Ring Paradox Engine follows that up not too long after that. Utopia Sprawl. There's the 1-mana green enchant lands that I was talking about. There's a few of them, like Abundant Growth as well. So there's Monolith, there's Petal, and I think the One Ring is the best play here. Draw my cards with that. Yeah, so Manifold Key to untap either one of these for the next turn. Hopefully we don't eat a Green Sun for a Collector Oof or something like that. Didn't board in Dismembers. It is stock up. That is just a concession from my opponent. That is just massive respect of what the One Ring does to a game. Honestly, opponent, I get it. GG's. Okay, opening hand is perfectly fine here. We're going to have 4 mana on turn 2. And I'll go ahead and use my turn 1 to play a Manifold Key. And then pass. I think I hold a Lotus Petal until I need it. Although now that I know that I'm playing against a Daze deck, I probably play it out. I don't know, I could start with Tezzeret Cruel Captain before Karn the Great Creator. Shit. Now I think I just jam a 4-drop since I have 2 of them. I'm gonna do Karn as bait. Bait successful. Pitching Show and Tell. You got it. So opponent's got land drop 2. It's not an Ancient Tomb. Multicolor Show and Tell. With a Pantad Prism. Spicy. Oh ho ho ho. Ho ho ho. Ho ho. Yes. So I think I try to have my cake and eat it too here. 4 mana afterwards, there's the One Ring. Brainstorm in response. Nice. So let's always yield to Tezzeret. Draw a card with the One Ring. I think I will go ahead and Tezzeret. Untap the One Ring immediately. Draw with the One Ring. Fuck. Alright. Untap the One Ring. Draw with the One Ring. That's a lot of garbage. I mean, this is obviously fine, and this is fine, but all this stuff in the middle, not really what I'm looking for. So all I want to do is resolve this Karn, and then I can get something that beats Show and Tell. Alright, it is Show and Tell. Mana is potentially the bigger bottleneck here rather than cards. I'm going to put in a Workshop. There is a Sneak Attack and an Activation. I can't take damage here, but I could get permanents annihilated. There's Atraxa. That is not Lotus Petal plus Emrakul, but it is Lotus Petal Atraxa. This does, I guess, kill my Tezzeret. I still just draw like 10 cards next turn easily. So, assume that my opponent now spins the wheels on Atraxa again. Yep, there it is. There's a Lotus Petal, but that sure isn't an Emrakul. Petal. My opponent didn't get a Force of Will in all of that. which is nice. So, I get to have fun. Yeah, honestly, fair. This deck has some crazy fucking potential. So, since my opponent is on a sneak attack version in particular, these pithing needles are quite good. They just enable my metalcraft while stopping sneak attack, and show and tell is kind of scary for my opponent to do. So I think I'm going to board in Ridge Leave Snare. Probably board in Disruptor Flute. Ooh, Tezzeret just gets to be tutor for Pithing Needle. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And then I just like trim some stuff around the edges. Karn gets to tutor for card advantage, combo potential, lockout, or hate card. That seems fine. I could do something like board in a Mystic Forge in a spot where Kozilek's Command is. But Kozilek's Command, Glaring Fleshraker is nice burn potential. I don't know that I want to go down further on those. Sometimes you do just need to end the game. Here we see another one of those Mana Light hands. I just have to mulligan all of those. Yeah, this is fine. Am I just getting rid of my key here? Let's say yes. I think there's a good chance this card doesn't resolve. Or this card doesn't resolve, whichever one I play first. Opponent on a mulligan to 5. Basic Island pass turn. All Ancient Tomb pass turn. We've got Brainstorm end step. This is probably just for pure efficiency. My opponent probably wants to show and tell quickly if they are going to do it. There's the fetch to clear one of those cards from the Brainstorm, and a new cantrip. That was a shuffle. I have a gajillion good cards to play here. I think the first one that I play gets countered. Since I have 2 Mystic Forges, I'm going to just offer one of those up to the gods of Consigned to Memory. Get Force of Will instead. Pitching Force of Will, that's great. We're at 3 mana. You have a Murktide? No, yeah, it is a stock up. So the weird thing here is that I kind of want to cast the Ensnaring Bridge in respect of like 4th land Lotus Petal Sneak Attack creature being the 4 exact cards that my opponent has. But I would really prefer to be throwing down my own threats. Ooh. Next turn I have 8 mana. At 8 mana next turn, I think I plan on doing 2 4-drops next turn, and I just cast an Ensnaring Bridge now as another problem for my opponent. Nice. There's another stock up. And an Ancient Tomb. Sure. So I think I do the One Ring first, as this potentially saves me life so the Ancient Tombs don't hurt me. Okay. Omniscience is gone. I don't mind that. So there's Karn. Karn minus. Say yes. Pick up Perilous Snare. Pass turn. Now I am better versus a show and tell, and I have sneak attack covered. Alright, there is a sneak attack. And just cast Perilous Snare and say no to that. Minus. Yes. Lattice. Let's actually not tap that one, in case I want to cast this. And we take that one down pretty easily. My opponent's stock-ups are very, very good, obviously, but I just had really high threat density, and they could not stop it all. Alright, I have an okay opening hand here. I'll make a land drop and pass. The goal is probably turn to the One Ring. We're playing against Stryfo, who tends to play very unique mid-range control piles. I say as he drops a Lotus Petal. Ooh, this is a card I wanted to see in action. So this has Warp, so Stryfo is going to drop a whole bunch of artifacts and then be able to get, a drone for each one. And then on a later turn, he can cast that for 3 mana. Yeah, that card is sweet. I am thinking about Tezzeret minus and clear my opponent's graveyard and do the One Ring a little bit further down the line. I'm going to do that. So yeah, minus Soul Guide Lantern, which goes to hand. And I will cast that, which is going to be worth 1 loyalty on Tezzeret. I'll take out the Bauble immediately. I will exile my opponent's graveyard. Guess I could wait until an Emery activation happens there. For exactly this reason. 3 artifacts in play, so we're not quite to Thought Monitor from graveyard. Is this an artifact itself? Ooh, yeah, so you can cast that with an Emery. Sick. Alright, so my Tezzeret does die. But then I will just drop the One Ring. Ooh, that's a very good Force of Will. Pitching a Thought Monitor. Urza Saga? Urza Saga seems fine. I can let that start ticking up towards a Pithing Needle. And sometimes I just use this for regular mana, and that's, I think, fine. Ooh, opponent has Urza Saga too. I'm just getting paunched. 3, 4, 5, potentially 6, 7. Yeah. Let's make Thopters and Scry. This is X equals 5. No to land. No to land. This is stuff that I could play immediately. I just want more gas. Yes to One Ring. 4 mana. 4 One Ring. Draw. Key. I'll cast that while I know that it resolves. And pass. Urza Saga goes up. There's not the mana to immediately activate that. Emery does things. Emery finds a Bauble, which is a great use of an Emery. And I've obviously got the One Ring protection here. And that is just the concession point. Yeah, that's fair. Like, I'm going to untap with the One Ring and Manifold Key and a second Manifold Key if I want it. I definitely want this extra Pithing Needle. Dismembers seem reasonable for Emery and, what is it? Not Pinnacle Monk, Pinnacle, what is that card? Pinnacle Emissary. I don't think I'll Disruptor Flute at 2 mana. Sideboarding feels hard with this deck. It just feels like all my cards are good, which I guess is a good problem to have. I'll trim a Mox Opal. Kozilek's Command is less efficient than Dismembers at dealing with the cards that I am trying to stop. The upside of Kozilek's Command is that it helps me find things like Karn the Great Creator and the One Ring that are going to slam the door on the game. This is another hand that just simply does not have enough mana. This is going to be fine. So I play... How do I get the One Ring into play most efficiently? Just play it on turn 1, idiot? No. Turn 2. So then I can Pithing Needle and Emery on 1, do the One Ring on 2, or I can keep 2 threats for if 1 gets countered. I'm going to keep Pithing Needle. That is a tapped artifact land here. Ooh, that just lets me do the thing on turn 1. So yeah, 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 yeah. This is a superb Force of Will or equivalent. Oh, nice. It just worked. Yeah. Oh, nice. I don't have the way to untap this stuff yet to really go crazy. Alright, so there is the Emissary. And my opponent will presumably make a bunch of friends this turn. Very nice. With Mox Opal there. The drone can attack, but does not get any benefits for doing so. So, draw cards. Nice, we hit Planar Nexus. That's a big deal. So I will drop that. And this is an artifact land. So I am perfectly good with just doing a Karn now. We will plus is indestructible. We'll plus on the Mox Opal there. And pass the turn. Oh, I might have had a harder line with Voltaic Key, where I end up with slightly more cards in play. So Karn's going to get a love tap down to 3 loyalty. Cool. So, draw cards. Oh, I could think so much now. I don't think I need to, but I could think so much. So, play Workshop. Do this. Drop a Pithing Needle. Get the fetch off the Flooded Strand in response. Name Urza's Saga. Cut those down. I have 3 Urza lands. Without thinking about it much, this is just Paradox Engine, right? So this is 3, 6, Paradox Engine, cast, untap all of these, and that is the concession point. That was a relatively easy 4-1 league. I don't know my exact recording time here, but that was certainly under 2 hours of play time to record this entire league. Tezzeret is a powerful card, but it's a little weird. It's not exactly good by itself. It feels very good when you have a Grim Monolith to untap and super accelerate on mana, or you have the One Ring to untap and draw a bunch of cards. I can definitely imagine situations where you play this and your opponent is like, yeah, it resolves. And then you get some card to your hand, you pass the turn, and they kill it. But there's going to be a lot of times where this gets an obnoxious amount of loyalty quickly. I never activated the -7 in this league. I guess Legacy is just in a fast enough place where you just want to combo kill your opponent if you can, which we were very, very capable of doing. But in slower controlling matchups, threatening the -7 is scary. This may be better in a Painter Shell where it threatens to just get your Grindstone and win the game. Probably silly in Vintage. But Vintage is full of other silly things, so I guess the floor on what is acceptable there is pretty high, but this being able to tutor for half of a combo in Vintage while also just casually getting Black Lotus to replace itself instantly seems pretty cool. I liked this list overall. I don't know that I have any major notes as far as changes I would make go. I don't think the deck wants to sideboard much. I think it's just like, hey, this is the plan that I am presenting. You have to beat this. And you just have the tiniest amount of wiggle room to adjust things. So I think I like what I see here. We had to mulligan a decent number of hands that did not have enough mana, but I don't know that that means that you want to add more lands to this deck or anything. I think mulliganing with this deck is actively good because anytime you line up Planar Nexus plus Urza's Tower, it feels like cheating. So Tezzeret feels good. There's some caveats there, but I think this is a good card. I am not surprised that this deck did so well over the weekend, and I am looking forward to playing with this card more in the future. On that note, if you got a Tezzeret brew and you want to see it on the channel, donation deck lists are always open for this sort of nonsense. And with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a day here. I hope you all enjoyed. Have a great rest of the day. See you.